And friends, today we're going to talk about Indus Valley Civilization. But before we move on, I request you to kindly subscribe to our channel Kaal the History and press the bell icon for the latest updates. So friends, the history of India begins with the birth of the Indus Valley Civilization, also known as Harappan Civilization. It flourished around 2500 BC in the western part of South Asia and contemporary Pakistan and western India. The Indus Valley was home to the largest of the four ancient urban civilizations of Egypt, Mesopotamia, India and China. In 1920s, the Archaeological Department of India carried out excavations in the Indus Valley, wherein the ruins of the two old cities, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, were unearthed. In 1924, John Marshall, Director General of the ASI, announced the discovery of a new civilization in the Indus Valley to the world. Friends, there were three phases of the Indus Valley Civilization, the first being the early Harappan phase from 3300 to 2600 BC, the mature Harappan phase from 2600 to 1900 BC, and the late Harappan phase from 1900 to 1300 BC. The early Harappan phase is related to the Hakra phase identified in the Ghaggar-Hakra river valley. The earliest examples of the Indus script date back to 3000 BC, and this phase stands characterized by the centralized authority and an increasingly urban quality of life. Friends, trade networks had been established, and there are also evidences of the cultivation of crops. Peas, sesame seeds, dates, cotton, etc. were grown during that time. Kordichi represents the phase leading up to mature Harappan phase, and by 2600 BC, the Indus Valley Civilization had entered into a mature stage. So the early Harappan communities were turning into large urban centers like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro in Pakistan and Lothal in India. The signs of a gradual decline of the Indus River Valley civilization are believed to have started around 1800 BC, and by 1700 BC, most of the cities were abandoned. However, one can see the various elements of the ancient Indus Valley civilization in later cultures, and archaeological data indicates the persistence of the late Harappan culture till 1000 to 900 BC. Talking about the town planning and structures, friends, the Harappan culture was distinguished by its system of town planning. Harappa and Mohenjo-daro each had its own citadel or acropolis, which was possibly occupied by members of the ruling class. The remarkable thing about the arrangement of the houses in the cities is that they followed the grid system. Granaries constituted an important part of the Harappan cities, and the use of burnt bricks in the Harappan cities is remarkable because in the contemporary buildings of Egypt, mainly dried bricks were used. And friends, the drainage system of Mohenjo-daro was very impressive. In almost all cities, every big or small house had its own courtyard and bathroom. In Kalibangan, many houses had their wells, and at sites such as Dhalovera and Lothal, which is in Gujarat, the entire settlement was fortified and sections within the town were also separated by walls. Friends, talking about agriculture in the Indus Valley Civilization, the Harappan villages, mostly situated near the floodplains, produced sufficient food grains. Wheat, barley, rye, peas, sesame, lentil, chickpea and mustard were produced. Millets are also found from sites in Gujarat, while rice uses were relatively rare. The Indus people were the earliest people to produce cotton. While the prevalence of agriculture is indicated by finds of grain, it is more difficult to reconstruct actual agricultural practices. So friends, representations on seals and terracotta sculpture indicate that the bull was known, and archaeologists extrapolate shows oxen were also used for plowing. Most Harappan sites are located in semi-arid lands where irrigation was probably required for agriculture, and traces of canals have been found at the Harappan site of Chotugai in Afghanistan, but not in Punjab or Sindh. Although the Harappans practiced agriculture, animals were also reared on a large scale. Talking about the economy, friends, the importance of trade in the life of the Indus people is witnessed by the presence of numerous seals, uniform script and regulated weights and measures in a wide area. The Harappans carried on considerable trade in stone, metal, shell, etc., and the metal money was not used, and trade was carried by barter system. Talking about crafts, friends, the Harappans were very well acquainted with the manufacturing and use of bronze. Textile impressions have also been found on several objects, and a huge brick structure suggests that bricklaying was an important craft. This also attests the existence of a class of masons. The potter's wheel was in full use, and the Harappans produced their own characteristic pottery, which was glossy and shining. Talking about the institutions, friends, very few written materials have been discovered in the Indus Valley, and the scholars have not been able to decipher the Indus script so far. As a result, there is difficulty in understanding the nature of the state and institutions of the Indus Valley Civilization. No temples have been found at any Harappan sites, friends. Therefore, the possibility of priests ruling Harappa can be eliminated. Harappa was possibly ruled by a class of merchants, and if you look for a center of power or for depictions of people in power, archaeological records provide no immediate answers. Talking about religion, in Harappa, numerous terracotta figurines of women have been found. In one figure, a plant is shown growing out of the embryo of a woman. The Harappans therefore looked upon the earth as a fertility goddess and worshipped her in the same manner as the Egyptians worshipped the Nile goddess. So the male deity is represented on a seal with 3 horned heads, represented in the sitting posture of a yogi. Talking about the decline of the Indus Valley Civilization, friends, the Indus Valley Civilization declined around 1800 BC, but the actual reasons behind its demise are still debated. And one theory claims that Indo-European tribe, that is Aryans, invaded and conquered the Indus Valley Civilization. And in later cultures, various elements of the Indus Valley Civilization are found, which suggests that civilization did not disappear suddenly due to an invasion. But on the other hand, many scholars believe natural factors are behind the decline of the Indus Valley Civilization. So if you liked the video, I would request you to share this video with your friends and your known ones. Thank you and take care. Our channel Kaal, the history, where we apprise you of the important historical events which one should certainly know, along with the ancient, medieval and the modern history, in order to enhance your knowledge. But I request you to kindly subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for the latest updates.